Hi, I'm Aria. Today, I'm going to tell you my story. But before I continue, please share, and subscribe to hear more stories like this. Dad, I got accepted into the doctoral program, I said, clutching my acceptance letter. My father barely looked up from his newspaper. Another waste of time and money. When are you going to get a real job? This is real. I'll be researching neuroplasticity in trauma recovery. Professor Martinez thinks my proposal could... Professor Martinez, he scoffed, finally putting down his paper. That woman has filled your head with delusions of grandeur since undergrad. You're not cut out for academia, Aria. You never have been. I swallowed hard. I've been published twice already. The grant committee, publications in student journals don't count. And grants? He laughed. You think you deserve other people's money for your little hobby? My brother Michael walked in, catching the tail end of our conversation. Dad, ease up. Aria's worked hard for this. Stay out of this, Michael, Dad snapped. Your sister needs to hear the truth. Not everyone's meant for greatness. Some people need to accept their limitations. I'd heard these speeches my entire life. Growing up as the daughter of Dr. Richard Coleman, renowned physicist and university department chair, meant living in a shadow that grew longer with each achievement of his and each perceived failure of mine. You know what? I gathered my things. I don't need your approval. I never have. That's right, he called after me. Run away when faced with reality, just like your mother. 3 weeks later, I was settling into my small campus apartment when my phone rang. Hello, Dr. Coleman's office, a secretary's voice said. Your father would like to speak with you. Put him on, I said, bracing myself. Aria. His voice was cold. I've been reviewing the doctoral candidates in the neuroscience department. My stomach dropped. You have no right to... I'm on the university board, Aria. I have every right. Your research proposal is derivative at best, plagiaristic at worst. That's absurd. My work is original and you know it. Do I? Because I've been reviewing similar research from Stanford, and the parallels are concerning... What are you talking about? I'm talking about your academic future. I've expressed my concerns to the department head. My hands shook. You're trying to sabotage me. I'm protecting this institution's reputation, and saving you from embarrassment when your inadequacies are inevitably exposed. I called Samantha immediately after hanging up. Sam, my father is trying to torpedo my program before it even starts. Whoa, slow down, Sam said. What exactly did he do? He told the department head my proposal might be plagiarized. It's not. He's making it up. That's seriously messed up. But Professor Martinez is your advisor, right? She knows your work is legit. Yes, but my father has influence. He's buddies with half the board. Then document everything. Every conversation, every email, and talk to Martinez first thing tomorrow. The next morning, Professor Martinez's expression was grave when I entered her office. Aria, sit down, she said. I've received some concerning communications about your research. From my father, I said flatly. She nodded. I want you to know I don't believe any of it. Your work is original and promising. Thank you, I whispered. But this puts us in a difficult position. Your father is suggesting we assign you a co-advisor to guide your research. Let me guess. Someone from his department? Dr. Phillips. A friend of his. I clenched my fists. This is how he operates. He's trying to control my work, discredit me, or both. I won't let that happen, Professor Martinez said firmly. But we need to proceed carefully. The best response is excellent work, unimpeachable research. I can do that. I know you can. Now let's discuss how we address these allegations formally. For the next 2 years, I worked harder than I'd ever worked before. While other doctoral students balanced teaching and research, I added meticulous documentation to my routine. Every source was cited with painful precision. Every experiment was witnessed and signed off by neutral observers. My father continued his campaign. He'd coincidentally appear at departmental meetings I was presenting at. He'd question my methodology publicly. He'd suggest to colleagues that my acceptance had been a diversity initiative, rather than merit-based. Each time, I responded with data, with facts, with increasingly impressive results. He's relentless, I told Samantha over coffee during our third year. Yesterday, he emailed my entire committee suggesting my latest results were statistically manipulated. What did Martinez say? She shut him down immediately, copied the department chair showing how my analysis was textbook perfect. Sam squeezed my hand. You're beating him at his own game. Your mid-program review was stellar. But my defense is coming up. He'll be there. I know it. So what? Your dissertation is brilliant. The external reviewers loved it. It's not about the work anymore, Sam. It's about him. He can't stand that I'm succeeding despite him, not because of him. Have you considered why he's so obsessed with bringing you down? Sam asked, stirring her coffee thoughtfully. I sighed. I've spent most of my life trying to understand that. You know what I think? I think you're living proof that his worldview is wrong. If you succeed on your own merits, it challenges everything he believes about himself, about women in academia, about his own importance. That doesn't make it any easier to deal with, I said. No, but it helps to remember this isn't really about you or your work. It's about his insecurities. 3 months before my defense, Michael called me. Arya, I need to tell you something. What's up? Dad's been talking about your dissertation to anyone who'll listen, saying he's found fundamental flaws in your research model. I sighed. Nothing new there. No, this is different. He's preparing a formal academic challenge. He's going to try to publicly discredit you during your defense. He can't do that. He's not on my committee. He's saying it's his ethical obligation as a board member. Arya, he's obsessed with stopping you. Why? Why can't he just let me do my work? Michael was quiet for a moment. I found Mom's old journals. What? Where? In the attic. Dad doesn't know I have them. Arya, she was brilliant. Her research was groundbreaking, but Dad, he did the same thing to her. Took credit for her ideas. Undermined her whenever she tried to establish herself independently. My throat tightened. She left when I was 6. He always said she abandoned us for another man. There was no other man. She left academia entirely. Couldn't take the sabotage anymore. Do you know where she is now? I'm looking. But Arya, I think you remind him of her. Your success threatens the narrative he's built about her and about himself. Michael, this changes everything. Do you have those journals somewhere safe? They're with me. I've made copies too. Good. I have an idea. If Dad tries something at my defense? What are you thinking? Let's just say I'm going to be prepared for any scenario. The day of my defense arrived. The room was packed, unusual for a neuroscience dissertation defense. I recognized faces from other departments, my father's colleagues. Professor Martinez noticed too. Quite a turnout, she murmured. My father's doing, I whispered back. Then let's give them a show. My presentation was flawless. The research was solid, the methodology sound, the implications significant for trauma treatment. As I concluded and prepared for committee questions, I spotted my father in the back row, flipping through what looked like notes. The committee questions were rigorous but fair. I answered each one thoroughly, citing supporting data. The external reviewer seemed particularly impressed. Any questions from the audience? Professor Martinez asked, following protocol. My father's hand shot up immediately. Before being acknowledged, he stood. I have serious concerns about the fundamental premises of this research, he announced loudly. Professor Martinez's expression hardened. Dr. Coleman, while we welcome questions from the audience, this is not the appropriate forum for... This candidate has built her research on fraudulent foundations, he interrupted. Murmurs rippled through the room. My heart hammered. The neuroplasticity model she's using was discredited last year by researchers at Johns Hopkins, he continued. That's false, I said clearly. The paper you're referring to challenged specific applications of the model in geriatric patients, not trauma patients like my study examines. You're manipulating the literature to suit your purposes, he accused, voice rising. Page 47 of my dissertation specifically addresses those limitations and why they don't apply here, I responded. The committee has reviewed and accepted my analysis. His face reddened. The committee hasn't seen what I've seen. Dr. Coleman, Professor Martinez interjected firmly. If you have academic concerns, there are proper channels. She's a liar, he shouted, pointing at me. Just like her mother, stealing ideas and claiming them as her own. The room fell silent in shock. Security, Professor Martinez said quietly into the microphone. You're all being fooled, he continued shouting as 2 campus security officers approached. Check her undergraduate work. It's mediocre at best. She's not capable of this level of research. Sir, you need to come with us, one officer said, reaching for his arm. Do you know who I am? My father demanded. I'm on the board of this university. Not anymore, came a voice from the doorway. The university president stood there, flanked by 3 board members. Richard, that's enough, the president said firmly. Officers, please escort Dr. Coleman out. This is outrageous, my father sputtered as they led him away. I demand a formal investigation. You'll get your investigation, Richard, the president replied coldly. Just not the one you were expecting. My father struggled against the security officers. You can't do this to me. I've given 25 years to this institution, and apparently stolen at least that many ideas from your colleagues and students, one of the board members added. The board has received some very disturbing evidence. As they dragged him toward the door, my father locked eyes with me. This is your doing, you ungrateful. The door closed behind them, cutting off his final accusation. After the door closed behind them, the president addressed the room. My sincere apologies for this disruption. Dr. Coleman's behavior today represents a clear conflict of interest and violation of our ethical standards. Please continue with this candidate's defense. In a daze, I answered the remaining questions. The committee deliberated briefly before returning. Congratulations, Dr. Aria Coleman, Professor Martinez announced. Your dissertation is accepted with no revisions required. Applause filled the room, but it all seemed distant, unreal. Afterward, the president approached me. Dr. Coleman, Aria, I want to apologize personally for what happened today. Thank you, I managed. Your father has been placed on administrative leave pending a review of his conduct. We've also launched an investigation into his past behaviors based on concerning information that's come to light. What information? I asked. Multiple complaints of academic intimidation and taking credit for others' work. And we received a package from a Catherine Coleman. My breath caught. My mother. He nodded. With extensive documentation from her time here. Your brother helped us locate her. 2 weeks later, I sat across from my mother in a quiet cafe. 20 years had passed, but I recognized her immediately. You look so much like her, Michael had told me recently. Maybe that's why he couldn't stand seeing you succeed. I tried to contact you both so many times, my mother said, tears in her eyes. He threatened legal action, claimed I was mentally unstable. Why come forward now? I asked. Michael found me, told me about your defense. I couldn't let history repeat itself. She reached for my hand. I'm so proud of you, Aria. You did what I couldn't. You stood your ground. What happened back then? I asked. Why did you leave everything behind? She looked down at her coffee. Your father and I were research partners initially, equal collaborators. But as we gained recognition, he gradually pushed me into the background. First at conferences, then on papers. That sounds familiar, I said bitterly. When I confronted him, he threatened to destroy my career if I didn't play along. Said no one would believe me over him. When I persisted, he started spreading rumors about my mental health, questioning my research ethics. Just like with me. Exactly like with you. But you had what I didn't. Allies who believed in you. Professor Martinez, your committee, even the board members who witnessed his behavior firsthand. And now we have each other, I said, squeezing her hand. 6 months later, I was setting up my own lab at Berkeley while my father faced a university ethics investigation. His reputation was in tatters as colleagues came forward with stories similar to my mother's. His research was under review for potential misattribution of credit. Dr. Coleman? My new research assistant knocked on my open door. "Please call me Aria," I said, smiling. "There's a Dr. Martinez on the phone for you." I picked up. "Elena, how are you?" "Excellent news," she said. "The foundation approved our joint research grant. Full funding for 5 years." "That's wonderful." "And your father's department voted unanimously yesterday to revoke his emeritus status following the investigation's findings." I sat back in my chair. How does it feel to win? Not by destroying someone, but by simply refusing to let them destroy you. "That's the sweetest victory of all," she said. "By the way, have you spoken to Michael lately?" "He's helping Mom prepare for her return to academia. Stanford offered her a visiting scholar position." "The Coleman family renaissance," Professor Martinez laughed. "Your father underestimated all of you." That evening, I called Samantha to share the news. "I knew you'd come out on top," she said. "Are you going to the conference next month? I heard your father's replacement is eager to collaborate with your lab." "I'll be there," I confirmed. "With my mother as my co-presenter?" "Perfect poetic justice," she said. "Hey, didn't Michael say he found your mom's journals? Have you read them yet?" "I'm halfway through. They're painful but illuminating. She documented everything, every idea he stole, every time he undermined her. She was building a case but felt too isolated to use it. Unlike you, who built a support network." "That was the difference," I agreed. "I wasn't alone." Samantha hesitated. "Have you heard from your father?" "He sent a letter. Said he was sorry I misinterpreted his actions, and that he was only trying to prepare me for the harsh realities of academia." Classic non-apology. What did you do with it? Returned it unopened with a copy of the ethics committee findings. Did he try to contact you again after that? Once. He showed up at my office unannounced. Security had to remove him again. What did he want? To explain himself. To tell me I'd misunderstood everything. That destroying his career was an overreaction to his fatherly concern. "Unbelievable," Sam said. "Some people never learn." The funny thing is, even after everything, part of me still wanted his approval. Isn't that pathetic? It's human, Arya. But you know what's stronger? The part of you that kept going despite him. The part that's now Dr. Coleman, running her own lab, continuing her mother's legacy. I smiled at that. You know what I realized? Every time he tried to tear me down, he actually made me more determined to succeed. "So what's next for the newly minted Dr. Coleman?" Samantha asked. I looked around my new office, at the framed copy of my dissertation on the wall. "Changing the world, one research paper at a time, just like I always said I would." And sometimes, when I'm working late in my lab, I think about that moment when security led my father away. It wasn't the screaming or the accusations that defined that day. It was the silence afterward. The moment I realized his power over me was finally broken. So I'm curious, what toxic relationship did you finally break free from? And what was the moment you knew you'd won?